All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a Survivor LU episode recap. Today we are recapping episode 5, Mom, Hey, I Made the Merge. And we are joined with Drew, my co-host Drew, and Ellie, who is, spoiler alert, unfortunately, our castaway that was sent out of the game this week. How's everybody doing today?
I'm great. This was a very traumatic episode for me. As we know, I wanted Ellie to win. So I'm sure that I am on equal levels of trauma with her watching this. So, Ellie, how are you?
Yeah, trauma for sure. No, I'm okay. It was definitely hard to watch, but it is what it is. So
Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely a tough time watching it back, seeing what you could have done, seeing what you could have, how it could have gone, and you went out in such a unique way in the game of Survivor that only a few people can claim that they have gone out, and that is rocks. But we can get to that later. But to start off, how was your overall experience with the season?
yeah, it was good. I mean, I loved it, and going into it, honestly, I was very naive to say the least. I hadn't really watched a ton of Survivor in my life. I watched it growing up with my family, but it had been years.
Yeah.
And I went into it thinking, oh, this is going to be fun. It'll be different, like a little hobby I have. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and I didn't know other people would be playing so hard.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think it was an awesome experience. I mean, I've made so many friends from it, still have all these good friends. So watching it back is really fun to see. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So go ahead, Drew.
I was gonna say, so before we even get into this week's episode, let's talk about the past episodes and walking up on the first day. You meet these people, you know one of the other contestants. So tell us about your thought process through going into the game and those first couple of weeks of gameplay.
Yeah, so going into the game, I mean, walking up, I was nervous but excited. And meeting Tigress, I mean, there really was, I feel like an instant connection with everybody. I mean, we all seemed to get along really well. We won the challenge. We were all hugging and jumping. I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a great experience. I'm having so much fun. And we definitely did kind of have that mindset of being a superior tribe. And for me, not knowing much about Survivor, I've always played team sports growing up. So to me, that's why my mindset was so, why would you go against your team? You're competing. And it wasn't, I never even considered really meeting with anybody on the other team in those first few weeks whatsoever, because I was just very in that mindset of team sports. Obviously, Nate and I had our differences from the beginning. Watching the episodes back and seeing that comment, that very first episode where I mentioned David being a grad student, is what kind of sparked that whole rivalry. I meant nothing of it. Again, I was naive. I wasn't even thinking. And that's kind of what started the snowball effect with me and Nate. And it wasn't shown as much in the episodes as it really was. There was tension there. I mean, we'd all meet and we'd all be leaving. We'd all hug. Me and Nate, we did not hug. We'd just walk away. So there's definitely tension between us. Another thing it didn't show was that episode where we voted Sam out. It was mentioned that we all met without Nate prior to that vote. And it was actually during that meeting that we decided, we wanted to get Nate out soon. But me and MJ kind of knew that Nicole and Nate were really close. So we didn't want to just straight up say, let's vote out Nate, because we were scared that that might cause some other issues. So Sam was obviously the easy vote. However, MJ, Megan, and I kind of talked about putting 2 votes over on Nate because Nate already didn't trust Megan and MJ. So that way, if Sam had an idol, Nate would go home and we'd kind of win. And Nicole knew about this plan, but we just told her it was to save her in case Sam put one vote on her. That way she wouldn't go home if he played an idol. So yeah, I'm trying to think of what else, but I don't know. I loved it. I love the challenges. That was by far my favorite part of the eating challenge.
Yeah, you guys had like a great set of challenges on the production end of things. What was your favorite one that you had?
I loved the canoeing challenge. I love canoeing. I do it every summer with my family. So I was super excited when that was part of the challenge and to get to do it because I knew I would do really well. I also liked the first merge challenge a lot. You know, going into it, I was like, oh my gosh, those beams are this high and I'm 5'2". How is this ever going to work? But I managed to kind of pull it off. So I really liked that challenge too. It was really fun.
Definitely.
So let's get into this episode.
Yeah.
Lot to talk about. First of all, let's talk about the things that go on in the Gihan group. There's not a Gihan tribe, but the Gihan group. So first of all, we have our third fake idol of the season come up, which is crazy. So Ellie, did you know that was fake?
Yes and no. I was suspicious of it. Honestly, at first I wasn't because, again, naive to the game. I was like, oh my gosh, no way. And then I talked to, I want to say MJ about it. And she was like, that's got to be fake. There's no way. They had 2 last week. There's no way they have all 3. And so then I was really suspicious of it. And also, like I said in the episode, I didn't trust Alexa. I mean, y'all see, she's so good with her words. And I could see it when I was talking to her. I was like, I know you're trying to manipulate me. And even though I know that, it's kind of working. I don't know how, but it is. So I definitely was suspicious that it was fake. Yeah.
So in the episode, we see the conversation between you and Alexa, because just to recap, which is what this is, to recap, the original plan of the 5 Gihan was to pull together a group of Ben, Liz, Alexa, and then Ellie, Nicole, and Nate from Tigress. That got shut down pretty quick. So the new plan from the Gihan side was, let's get Ellie to flip by offering her this idol, and she can just pick which of the Tigress to vote out, even though it was a fake idol. So Ellie, we see in the episode that it seems like you're really torn on what to do. How long did you spend thinking about this? How much, were you leaning either way? Did you talk to anybody else? Obviously, you talked to MJ about the decision, but did you talk to anybody else on Tigress? What was that thought process for you?
Yeah, it was really hard. I was really debating who I could talk to about it. I think the hardest part for me was because it would be making a sacrifice for Nate. That was where it got me, because I knew I didn't want Nate in the game. And I was like, do I really, really want to go to Rocks for him? Really want to risk that? And it just kept going back to, they're going to pick us all off. I know they are. They're just one by one and by one. I didn't know. Watching back, one of the biggest surprises for me has been Dawson and Luke's relationship. I had absolutely no idea about that. I still didn't up until the episode came out. So that, obviously would have been a little bit different maybe, but before the vote, right before we went to Tribal, Tigress all met up actually on the rooftop of DeMoss, our academic building. And I was honest. I told them exactly what happened, because I thought maybe that way, if we make it through this, Nate won't be set on voting me out, because he'll know I gave up an idol to save him, and then I made that sacrifice. So I did end up telling them about it. But I did know going into Tribal that I wasn't going to flip. I think my biggest regret was seeing now that MJ was really thinking about it. I wish when we had the first tie vote, I had gone over and talked to her, because if I had known that she would have been willing to flip, I would have flipped for sure. Yeah.
Was there any, so like you guys came into the merge, like it seemed like Tiger strong and it seemed like the Gihan were fractured. What was kind of like your immediate perception, especially coming off of the last tribal council where those two idols were played? What was your first like thought about like, was it 5-5 or was there any chance of like talking to any of the Gihan over on the other side?
I mean, everyone was talking about getting Ben to flip, but I kind of knew he probably wouldn't, because I could just see he was like kind of playing us and lying to us. I mean, he's just, you can tell when he lies, he looks down a lot when he lies. So I didn't really think that they would flip. I hoped, because again, our perception of Gihan was that they'd gone to tribal every week and stabbed each other in the back. That's really what I saw from the outside. I did not know the details about the idol plays. I knew that idols were played, but I didn't really know who played what and that they played it for each other. MJ didn't really tell us that, and neither did Dawson, which now with Dawson, it totally makes sense why he didn't necessarily tell me that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I knew that they probably weren't going to flip.
Yes. So that's got to be pretty intimidating coming into the merge with the 5-5 numbers. You guys were really like banking on each other in there. Was there anybody on your tribe that you were kind of like nervous about like flipping?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah. Was there like anybody else that you were kind of like really like nervous that they might jump to the other side?
Nate, for sure. Just because he had already shown us he kind of does what he needs to do to get further in the tribe. I mean, he literally, before we even had to go to tribal, he was already starting rumors and like talking to other people, which I know it's the game, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't trust him. And so I thought if anybody offered him, I mean, because I thought, yeah, they offered me that idol and that deal, but they could have very easily offered that to every other person on my tribe, just hoping one person flipped. So I was suspicious that Nate would switch. But yeah, I didn't know about Dawson and Luke, and I didn't know that MJ had met with Nathan and Luke either. That I had absolutely no idea that happened. So.
Gotcha.
So we also hear in this episode, at the beginning of the episode, obviously a lot of you, Nate, and Nicole were shocked that 2 Tigress people went home last time. And we also hear you say that you're more disappointed that Garrett went out. And Dom and I are both Garrett fans. We both love Garrett and all of the nothing that he gave us this whole season. We didn't really get to see any of the you and Garrett dynamic. Do you want to tell us anything about that?
Yeah, I know. Garrett and I actually did have a pretty close alliance. Alliance, I guess. I basically would meet with him usually on a weekly basis, kind of just tell him what was going on usually, and then kind of be like, so you with us? And he'd be like, yep, sounds good, sir. I mean, who knows? Maybe he definitely did have something, that he didn't show us yet. I don't know. But Garrett, I knew, was somebody that I could kind of always count on to go with me on stuff. So I was pretty disappointed when that happened. Megan and I had never honestly talked, ever. So she was on the Tigress tribe, probably the person I had like no relationship with. So I wasn't too upset by that.
Yeah, it was definitely a bummer to see Garrett go. We talked about it last week about how it might have been a smarter move to keep Garrett around and get rid of somebody who was a little bit more perceptive like MJ. And MJ really kind of showed that, I feel like, this episode, where she was on top of it, as well as like, reading through Gihan's anything that they were throwing at you guys. What was it like, kind of like experiencing all these like different scenarios? Did they come at you with like different things, or was it just like the main things that we saw in this episode?
I think like for the things Gihan came to me about was just the thing with Alexa mostly.
Okay.
But Tigress, like kind of like MJ said, like we switched every single day. We were all, and Dawson was like, bing, bing. Like we were talking nonstop that entire week because we were just all so stressed about it because we knew that this was going to be a game changer for sure. So yeah, we were just constantly talking all the time. It was so stressful.
I bet, especially with what was on the line at the final tribal council, or not the final, but the last tribal council with the split votes and stuff.
So we obviously saw the conversation between you and Alexa, and she mentioned that you guys know each other. We saw in the first episode that you and Alexa had known each other. Did that come up at all in strategic conversations on Tigress? Did you let them know? What is the extent of that relationship going in?
Yeah, so Alexa and I we did only know each other. Like she lived on my hall freshman year, and her roommate was a good friend of mine. So like I knew her just through mutual friends, but we had never hung out or talked really at all. And my tribe knew that. I was very open about it because I didn't think it was a big deal. And that week strategically, we had discussed maybe if I went and talked to Alexa because I knew her. Someone brought that up. I don't remember who, but I shot it down because I was like, nope, she's too smart. We can't do it. I don't trust her for a second. She'll just take any information we give her and spit it back out to them, which is exactly what happened anyways. But I knew that wouldn't happen. And we had seen that she had worked with them. So we knew she probably wasn't going to flip.
Yeah, we saw a lot of big personalities come out of the Gihan tribe, especially at tribal council where they were pitching you guys, make a move, do whatever you got to do. Like, was there anybody that you were kind of surprised by that were, I was surprised that Luke came out swinging the way that he did, especially after his big showing at the last tribal. I was surprised that Alexa was going as hard as she was. I felt like they kind of really showed their cards there. But what was it like kind of like hearing it? Was your vote still kind of locked in, or was anything that they were saying like an effect on you?
Honestly, what they were saying was making me more angry. It was making me more set on sticking with my vote just because, like, I don't know, the way they're talking. And then it didn't actually show it in the episode, but at one point, it kind of showed him whispering with MJ. He was whispering with MJ and Dawson. And I stood up and I was like, oops, I'm so sorry. And I was like, Luke, nobody trusts you. Like, if you're gonna try to convince us, at least send somebody who would have some type of like persuasive ability over us, because no one's gonna listen to a word you say. Everyone's just like, because I just been sitting quiet the whole time, but I got so angry by the end. But like, I don't know. I felt triggered, and I knew that they were directly addressing me in front of everybody, and everybody knew that they were directly addressing me because I had just told Tigress that I was gonna be, that they had offered me that. So I don't know. The tribal was just like, it was so intense. The videos don't do it justice. It was very, 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 very intense. So yeah.
That means my bold prediction of Ellie getting into a fight actually happened.
Yes, it did. I'm very surprised they didn't show it. I actually said it in my video after I was voted out. I was like, at least I got to yell at Luke once before I left. So they didn't show it. I'm not sure why.
Yeah. Well, Ellie, we got some support from you in the YouTube comments. Dustin, who was with us the first couple episodes, said that you were an instant favorite. So good job. You got some supporters out there. Some people really bummed to see you go. David Stewart from Facebook said, "What up, y'all? It's a crazy episode." And yes, David, it indeed was. I'm sure David's maybe bummed that he missed out on that, but also a little excited that he didn't have to participate in that whole chaotic tribal council. But looking at, so you're the first juror, so congratulations, right?
Yes.
What do you think, without spoiling the rest of the season, what do you think, what were you thinking coming out of the game, and where did you kind of see where everybody lied in the game? Was there anybody that you were excited to like potentially vote for at the end, or like say, I'm not voting for you? Maybe Luke that you yelled at? Like what was the outlook of the game immediately coming out of it?
Immediately coming out of it, I mean, I definitely, like I said at the end, I was like, oh, Tiger's strong. But, you know, as I thought more and more about it, and at that time, I'd actually started watching the show again. So as I watched the show more, I just kind of realized that it wasn't going to be about tribe. It was really going to be about who, you know, stuck their neck out and really took some risks and played a good game. That's really what it was going to come down to. So,
yeah. Definitely.
So, Ellie, the big question on everyone's mind is, would you play again?
Yes. 100%. I feel like I have learned so much since playing. I've watched way more of the Survivor episodes, and I've actually learned a little bit more about the game and what it means to really strategize and build good strategic relationships and things. So I would 100% want to play again. Yes.
Would you be willing to go to Rocks again?
Probably not, because if I went out by Rocks twice, I would lose my mind. But I don't know. Hopefully it will never come to that decision again. So, yeah.
Ellie for All Stars.
Yeah, write that down, guys. We need the redemption arc.
I would love that.
So was there any, you're going into like this tribal council, was there any like game plan that we potentially missed out of you? Was there any future plans, anybody that you wanted to take to final three, or were you just taking this one round at a time?
No, I was definitely thinking ahead. I wasn't against working with Gihan. You know, I thought Ben could potentially be a decent ally later on as numbers started to dwindle. I felt like he was someone who would kind of flop back and forth between people. I didn't want to work with Luke, obviously. I was very scared of him, and obviously, like, knowing him now as a person, he's not scary, but at the time he was. And it didn't show as much. I had a decent alliance with Dawson and MJ both. Which I would have liked to take. Now watching the episodes, I see that I wasn't as in with them as I thought I was. And that's been hard to watch, honestly, seeing them having all these other alliances and be like, oh my gosh, they tricked me this whole time. Like, I was so naive. But yeah, I knew I wasn't going to work probably with Nate or Nicole. I like Nicole a lot, but I knew that her and Nate were really tight and had discussed getting me out. So I wasn't really planning on working with her. Now seeing that she had an idol when we went to 5-5, that makes I was really mad, because we had all talked and like begged, like, does anybody have an idol? Because we knew they were gonna vote for Nate. We knew it for a fact. They were all putting their votes on Nate. They straight up told me, because that was their only hope of someone flipping. Yeah. So had she played her idol, it would have changed the entire game. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when the episode was airing, I put in the chat, wait, is Nicole going to use her idol on Nate to avoid Rocks? And that didn't happen, obviously. So I guess you kind of, from Nicole's perspective, have to balance out which is more valuable to you, being up in numbers 5-4 or being down in numbers but having an idol. So I guess we'll see how that plays out. We haven't really heard much. We didn't really hear much from Nicole at all in this past episode, but and we haven't heard about the idol in a while, but I mean, she still has it. So I guess one question that I did want to make sure that I ask you about. So the previous week, we saw you and Ben kill the eating challenge. What do we think would have happened had you guys had to go to tribal on that week?
had we gone to tribal, I feel pretty confident that I would have been the one voted out. Which is why I didn't I didn't throw that challenge to let the other tribes win. And I know that now how much that hurt my relationship with MJ and Dawson, because it did. MJ was not happy with me after that for not throwing it. She was like, why would you do that? And I didn't reach out to her that whole week when they went to the split tribals. I didn't reach out to her, and that was my bad. But I just knew, had we gone to tribal, I have no doubt in my mind I would have probably gone home, because Nicole and Nate had a much closer alliance than Nicole and I did.
Do you think you guys would have gone to Rocks if you and Ben stuck together?
No, I think Ben would have switched over super easily, because he admitted to he thought I was a decent player. So I think as soon as Nate came to him and was like, hey, how about we save you and vote Ellie? I think he would have not hesitated. He would have been dumb to try to save me. So we didn't have a close relationship.
So we saw at that challenge, Luke picked up the 3 scrolls underneath the table, and you're the first person that we can talk to about that. What was it like watching that back? And you seem to be in the zone in that challenge, but what was it like seeing those underneath the table now?
I was so mad. I was like, are you kidding me? I was so close. I was totally just focused in on the challenge. And again, I was naive. I didn't even think to look for idols at a challenge. That I never even thought about it. Mm-hmm. So watching that back and seeing just how easily he took those right in front of Ben, and then he walked right up to the table and grabbed it, so many things I would do differently. I mean, good for him though, honestly. That's really, really impressive. So
okay. Well, Drew, you created the Edgic for this episode.
I did. It was a hard episode to do Edgic for.
We do have another episode with no invisibility. But yeah, do you want to break this down for us?
I mean, at this point in the season, if you're looking at potential winners or potential finalists, you're looking for a lot of blue and some green right now. I'm actually kind of thinking along the lines of what I've been saying the past couple of weeks. I think we're getting close to a Luke vote out, I think. Okay. We're getting so much Luke that I think at some point he has to flame out. Luke would be such an obvious winner. At this point, I'm looking at Nathan. I'm looking at Alexa. I'm looking at Dawson. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Dom?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a great episode from Alexa, definitely. She came out of her shell that she's been kind of in the past couple episodes. Ellie, you hit the nail right on the head with I was blown away by the way that she was able to pitch everything so eloquently, not even missing a step. I was drawn in by this, and then it would cut to a confessional with her or something, and I'd be like, oh shoot, that was a lie. Oh my, she's telling me that it's a lie, but I'm believing it. So Alexa had a great showing. I'm kind of nervous to see where her performance at Tribal could be a little bit, just speaking up a little bit, pointing the target on him, but I still think the target is right on Luke's back, because Luke piped up right away. And I think you're right. His boot's coming soon. But the fact that they have numbers 5-4 is a little, if it's still going to stick, Gihan's strong, Tiger's strong. I don't know. I feel like the under the radar players from both sides are going to be able to slide through. So I'm thinking maybe Nicole from Tigress, Dawson a little bit. We're seeing both of them kind of emerge as good social players, as well as Nate from Gihan and Alexa. So I think they're pretty good shape right now.
I agree. I'm really liking Dawson's positioning because, yes, he is down in numbers, but also he's connected to Luke. Mm-hmm. And for people like Nathan and Alexa and Liz, they both have the numbers and they're not Luke or Ben. I don't know really what Ben's doing still. So, but yeah, I think the Gihan who are not Luke or Ben are positioned well, and I'm liking Dawson's positioning a lot. But with Nicole having an idol, we could have a random Gihan being sniped out of nowhere. So honestly, it's anyone's game, I think, except Luke's. I just don't see Luke making it to the end at this point. He's such a big threat, and everybody knows it.
Ellie, was that the kind of the vibe on your tribe? Was everybody having that same reaction of like, nobody trusts you, Luke, or was that just coming from you?
I mean, I thought we all did, but I see that wasn't really the case watching it back. Again, that's really surprised me. No one following the game even told me that, like, when it was all said and done. And so it does surprise me. It's very interesting to me that Dawson and MJ kind of did speak with Luke and things, because that was the last person I wanted to work with. I just knew I couldn't trust him, and I knew he had good connections with other people. He knew what he was doing, and it was obvious to everybody. So it did surprise me.
Yeah. Dustin agrees with us that Luke is way too over the top right now. His edit is getting kind of way too positive, but also like I can honestly see like a bittersweet blindside edit coming soon. I don't even know if it's a blindside edit, but it might just be like kind of like a sorry, Luke, you have to go, like maybe coming up. So
yeah, I could even see like a situation happening where it's like, okay, we get through all of the remaining Tigers people, we're down to the Gihan, and then they're like, okay, Luke, you've got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But
I would agree. I feel like that would kind of be a little bit of a bummer to watch, just to like picking off one by one. And I want to ask Ellie's input going into it, but without any spoilers. Ellie, what can we expect from the rest of the merge? Is it going to be excitement? I hope we're hoping for some excitement. Or are we going to – what was it like? Give us a preview of sitting on the jury. What was it like?
Sitting on the jury was interesting, because I will say it didn't pan out as I fully expected, and every week at Tribal was more interesting than I anticipated it to be. So I think you guys are in for a good show.
I'm excited. I think we're still on an upward trajectory. Honestly, as good as episode 1 was, I honestly believe that every episode has been progressively better.
Exactly.
And if we can keep going like this through the finale, it's gonna be great.
I love the fact that we've already been to Rocks, and like this is Survivor LU's first season. So that just kind of shows that the caliber of players that they rounded up. And Allie, that includes you. You guys came out to play. And I feel like on a returnee season that you and a lot of the other people that are playing could definitely up their game. So I'm excited to see what the future of this series as a whole holds, as well as the rest of the season. I'm pumped to see what's going on.
Yeah. Dom, do we want to get into predictions? I will say I have had 2 correct predictions in a row, because I did predict Ellie getting into a fight, and I did predict Rocks.
Yes, I don't remember my predictions fully, but I don't think none of them have been accurate. That's probably why I've forgotten them. But anyway, I
wrote out a bold prediction.
Yeah, bold prediction. I have a feeling that somebody might flip. I feel like Ben might flip, or I don't see Gihan staying as strong as they appear this next episode. I feel like tribal lines will get a little bit crossed. Whether that puts Luke in the numbers or not in the numbers, I feel like we're going to see a lot of intermingling, more so than we saw at this last episode.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm almost wanting to throw out that Luke goes out next.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. I don't want to like put all my hope or prediction power on that. I'm wondering if this fake idol is going to come into play again. But since Ellie, you told the rest of Tigress that it was offered, they don't know that it's fake, but MJ kind of thinks it's. I'm wondering if that's going to have anything to come out. I think I'm going to say my bold prediction is that Nicole uses her idol next week.
Okay. I also, as we were talking about that, I remembered in the next time on Survivor, they showed the idol clue at the challenge. So that that could both add to the fact that it's either real and be a pre-merge idol, because I mean they could definitely play that it's the merge idol that was found, however they want to play it. But the fact that they're sharing a clue at the next tribal, they might have to navigate that. So that idol could definitely cause some chaos depending on who gets it. And if a Tigress person gets it, you know, but at the same time, Luke knows what to look for. Nicole knows what to look for. So I feel like it's going to be up in the air for them as well.
Nicole got her mom looking for an idol.
All hands on deck. I mean, also shout out to Luke's mom for Luke proving her wrong the whole season. I got nervous because I know somebody on our last or somebody commented on something on Facebook saying that Mom, hey, I made the merge sounded like Luke's, and that it seemed like everybody's who said the title has gotten home or had bad luck. So the fact that Luke survived this episode, good on him. He survived the episode title curse, I feel like.
Luke is such a good player. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. Just like everything is coming together just to make an amazing season. Like there's not been a dud in casting. Ellie, it seems like all of the players that we've talked to had a good experience. Like it's all coming together. I'm excited to progress more into the season and see who wins. Dom, how are your winner predictions looking?
I'm still holding strong with Nicole at the top spot, based on my pregame cast assessment. Luke has moved down a little bit, and Nate from Gihan has moved up. Just based on what we've talked with our first juror, I don't know if Nate from Tigress may be in her favor right now. So that's one vote that he might not get, but I do think he's playing a good game. I don't know if he will be the next target at the next tribal, just based on the fact that Gihan got rid of, or Gihan now has the numbers. Why would they focus on Nate, who like they can keep tabs on? So I think he's also at a good spot right now. Both Nathans are good, and Nicole. But yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you, Drew?
I know who wins, so
so it's just me. It's just me out of the loop.
Yeah.
Ellie, what was it like postseason? How's the cast getting along? Have you talked to everybody? Any bad blood? Can you share that, or
what's the tea? Yeah.
Any tea?
Honestly, postseason was really fun. Just getting to actually know everybody. I mean, after the finale, we had a little cast party after. So that was really fun. Honestly, catching up with everybody and finding out kind of everything that went on was super fun and interesting. Like I said, it helped me make a lot of great friends. We have a really good community. The first Survivor episode, we had a little watch party and all came together. So yeah, we get along really well for the most part. I think there's definitely a few grudges here and there, but for the most part, we have all moved on.
Okay.
So
that's great. The community is probably the best part that it comes out of playing these games.
Absolutely.
And Ellie, Dustin just wanted to leave off again saying that you were amazing and spilled some nice tea of what we didn't get to see. So thank you so much for hopping on with us and sharing your experience. And I hope we were able to let you talk some of this stuff out so it doesn't hurt too bad or burn too bad. But yeah, it was a fantastic episode, and I can't wait to see what happens for the rest of the season. And I'm glad that you still get to be a part of it on the jury.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank y'all for having me. It was fun to kind of talk it all out, and let y'all know some of the other stuff that went on behind the scenes that you didn't get to see.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, for sure. And you can watch Survivor LU every Thursday. They post their episodes, so be sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel. Follow them on social media to get all the updates that you can from them. And Drew, any last words before we log off?
My last words are as follows. I'm excited.
Me too. I feel like we've been ending each episode of these recaps like that. And honestly, our excitement is met every single time. So
Absolutely.
So yeah, I guess we can end this episode recap by giving the thumbs up. Check out the episode if you haven't already. If you're watching this and you haven't already, we definitely spoiled this one. So be sure to tune in Thursday to watch episode 6 and on Monday to watch our recap of that. Ellie, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a blast recapping with you. Drew, as always, thank you.
Always.
And we will see you Monday. All right.